And thank you all for sticking around for our second session on high vibe channeling this January 15th, 2026. And now we have up Chuck Crom D'setu. He is expanding his, or has expanded his reach with beyond his free farm spiritual wisdom and the home you have never, or we have never left. And now he is doing his embracing boundlessness, and it is a joyful thing. The more we get of Chuck, the more we like it. And now we will turn it over to him.
Well, I'm just loving what I just experienced for the past hour. It was very nice, Arla. Thank you very much. So I think feeling it's going to be a little not as long. It'll be a little brief, I believe. We'll see. And as in the past, I have some inkling about the theme, the direction we'll take, in line with some of the things that the direction that's usually taken. But you want to give me just a moment? Hmm. So once again, we would greet all of you and express our deep and in line with the earlier theme, heartfelt appreciation for your participation in what it is that we all do here tonight. So, as is our habit, perhaps we could say, we once again would like to, in a variety of ways in this evening, remind you of the power that you have. And in that, in a way similar to what you have just heard, embracing the idea of simplicity, you will find in these transition times to be of a great deal of assistance in bringing your power forward. There was talk earlier about chaos, challenges, and the movements that people find themselves within. When you look around your planet, you see various types of these challenges. You see large numbers of individuals immersed in these challenges. As was mentioned earlier, some of you, unbeknownst to yourself, many times, have chosen to, in this time period, when what you will do is something different than what you've done in the past. Because in the past, you lived your challenges frequently till the time of your transition, till the time you left this planet. Your challenges were largely the same. In this time period, that will be different. You will move beyond your challenges. Now, those of you who have chosen to walk this path, shall we say, in terms of time before the others, have chosen your challenges, again, as was mentioned, to become aware of what it was those challenges brought you, the awareness that those challenges brought you, to be able to connect with others with similar challenges, because Within the theme of simplicity, you are going to find that energy is going to be an increasingly important component of yourself to become aware of. And we say this because the energy that you are and the energy that all of you perpetually exchange amongst each others carries all the information that all of you have. So when you have gone through challenges of a particular type, and when now at the other end of those challenges, you interact with other individuals with similar challenges, your energy carries with it a knowingness of how to move through those challenges, which is recognized by the individuals that have similar challenges to the ones you move through. Those of you who've had very difficult challenges will find yourself very potent in your ability to bring change to individuals that struggle with similar things. All of you, within those deeper aspects of yourselves, understand the ability that you actually have. Some of you use that ability to provide a life for yourself that is very challenging while you are here. And if you're here in this time period, which you are, the reason for that is what you will be able to do with it once you move beyond that challenge, which you will. Simplicity also means rational, logical, intellectual ways of looking at things and trying to figure things out does not work. Because the information that you can gather from those sources, through your five senses, shall we say, is quite limited. Does not have the scope of view that the rest of you can say the heart has. In allowing yourself to fall into a way of approaching things that you have sometimes a great deal of hesitancy to do, you allow yourself actually to fall into a very powerful part of your ability. But many times you find that that's a difficult thing to do because historically, this is not the way that you believe that you're going to have the greatest outcome in your life. And that's because of this filter that you've used. And we don't mean in what we're about to say to disparage this particular filter, just to bring forward that because this filter has approached your reality in a particular way for quite a long time, it has lent you to believe that that approach is the effective approach. And so when you are faced with situations that you don't seem to be able to handle from an approach that you believe you should be able to handle them, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go because you're supposed to be able to handle it that way. That filter you have termed the ego. It is the filters, we will call it filter, through which you have this experience. And again, your experience is a very valid experience here. But you have, in terms of time, and most individuals are still quite connected to the idea that time flows in a linear way. You have this history of how it is you've approached problems in your civilizations. And it's been in your more recent centuries with this methodology, intellectualism, rationalism, things of this nature, to let go and allow your heart to guide you, to let go and to allow your intuition to guide you, your impressions to guide you, your impulses to guide you, your dreams to guide you, your daydreams to guide you. Sometimes even we will say more your sensing states than your emotional states to guide you is something that even for those of you of the, and we're going to say it in this way, in this moment, of the gender that's largely supposed to be tuned into those things more, will suggest to you that within your last couple of 100 centuries, that has become an increasingly difficult thing to do. It's only now in this transition time that individuals are being able to once again embrace those aspects of their communications in greater ways, in ways that, in terms of time, they once did, shall we say. Going back to the times that were mentioned before within the idea of the grids around your planet and the involvement of what you call your pyramids. So simplicity being the information and the ability that consciousness, energy, and its constant communication between all of you has. When you think about the world that you would like to find yourself within, understand the power that you have. Understand the power that the energy that you express in each moment has to influence the collective and to influence the experience that you have in your existence. If there is something as you look around your planet that you would rather not see occur, judging that expression will not get you there. Attempting instead to simply understand that for some reason that you may not be aware of, these individuals believe that this is the appropriate way to express themselves. You don't need to understand it. All you need to do, we will suggest, is to decide how you would like to approach your life, the type of world that you would like to live in, and to express your energy in that way. Because that is how you influence the rest of the planet, is through your energy. If you utilize methodologies, if you utilize emotional states that are similar to the individuals around the planet that are acting in ways that you would rather not see being expressed on the planet, you are adding to that energy. Energy is an incredibly potent thing in your reality. The further you move into your transition, the more you will understand this. You are in a very different time than what you were 25 and 50 years ago, even 75 years ago. A very different time. Yes, we've mentioned before that even within that time, you were in your transition period, and you were, but you approached it very differently. And the rate at which changes are happening to all of you, which then means your collective, is faster than you've ever experienced it before. In that, those of you who are interested in these types of awarenesses of yourself will be most helpful to yourself as well as everybody else to understand that nothing occurs within you that isn't transmitted through energy, through consciousness to everybody else that's experiencing this reality with you. Most of them have no idea. Some of the individuals who are very sensitive to those things can pick those things up from individuals. All of you here, if you stand in front of somebody and they're telling you something that is blatantly untrue to you, it's because you can feel the energy. You sense what's being contained in the energy that's coming off that individual, regardless of what their words are. You feel this from entities on your planet as well. In other words, corporations, branches of government, whatever. It is easier and easier for all of you to tell when there is something being presented to you that is not actually true because it's contained in the energy. And your ability to understand what's contained in energy is coming increasingly to the forefront all the time. Learning to trust that, which in effect is learning to trust yourself, is again a very important thing to do within this transition period. To trust yourself enough to make choices that on the surface may not necessarily seem like the choice to make in that moment, sometimes can be a difficult thing. But if you sense deeply that it's the choice to make, we'll suggest to you to attempt to make that choice. It may take days, it may take weeks before you understand that that was the correct choice to make. But learning to trust yourself and learning to follow the way that you feel about how things should be chosen. And in this, there needs to be a great transparency with yourself, a great deal of truthfulness between this aspect of yourself and the other aspects of yourself, a great deal of gentleness with yourself. Because you will struggle at certain times. There will be thoughts and feeling states that will run through you that perhaps you might say to yourself, I should not have this happening. And the more you can not do that, the easier you'll find yourself moving through those states once you understand them. And we're also going to touch briefly upon a statement again that was made earlier, and that once you have embraced a certain level of trust of yourself, we'll use that word level, you will in fact shift your perspective on what it is you believe is occurring on this planet. You will see the positive direction that everything is going not only for you, but for the world around you. You will not dwell in the way you used to on all the negative things that are going on. You will understand them for the challenges that they are, the chaos, using the earlier word, that's going on for groups of individuals, to give them the opportunity to move beyond the places that they're at in this particular moment. There's a direction that all of you has already chosen. In fact, in terms of the simultaneity of time, you live that reality in this moment. All you're actually doing is choosing at what rate you will open your awareness to what already exists. And it's not really about moving from your present experience to that experience in the blink of an eye. Because again, that infinite you understands its own infinite nature. It knows it has nothing to worry about. It knows that in the end, everything is going to be okay. And like somebody who perhaps goes on one of the largest roller coasters in the world for the first time, or somebody who perhaps walks through one of the largely untamed portions of your world for the first time. When you set out on a journey like that, many times it can be quite frightening. Many times you can question if you're going to make it through it, but you will make it through it. You will do much more than make it through it. You will make it through it with a deep understanding of what it was all about. And there's also the concept of the exploration of the entire experience. Because there is really nothing in this reality that you need to learn here. You do, however, revel in the exploration of it. You enjoy exploring your own creativity and all the various ways that you can use your creativity. That is what you do here. From your physical perspective, many times this is difficult to comprehend. Once, however, you begin to have some insight on the you of you that lies behind what you can call in this moment the physical expression of you, you begin to relax into your experience a little bit more. And like you heard earlier, with how quickly things can shift and move, when you do just that, you will find that happening for you. As you relax into trusting yourself, as you understand that wider version of you sees all the choices that you could possibly make in your experience. And understanding also the way that you view your physical experience presently, it provides you with communications guiding you into making choices that will not only be exciting, shall we say, for you to experience, but also provide you with an opportunity to move beyond whatever it is that's inhibiting you at a particular point in time. It's very good at mixing things together for you because it sees all the various pathways that you can take and how they're dynamically moving in various ways and how your choices will move you through them. It understands all of this. And so, as it provides you with dreams, as it provides you with intuition, with impulses, with insight, with impressions, with daydreams, with a sensing about things, this is what it's attempting to do. It's to provide you with guidance. But it's only that. It's guidance. Because, of course, you get to choose how you want to live the journey. It is your journey to live. Because, again, in the end, everything is going to work out fine for you. Even for individuals on your planet during times where this transition was not in place. We've made this statement before to many individuals, and sometimes it can be confusing. But nobody who has walked your planet or who has ever walked your planet has or will ever experience death. There is no such thing. For the individuals who are within the experience, they've applied the term to an experience that they see where the human body ceases to function in a way that they understand it. But they do not understand what's going on with the rest of you and the experience that you're having when you put aside, shall we say, the experience of the human body. And that your experience is seamless in that regard. So even in the times when this transition period was not going on, It's always been just fine in the end. And of course, you've used a variety of different mythologies and stories to describe things for yourselves in ways that made sense to you, considering the way that you looked at your existence in those time periods. So this would be what we would share with you tonight. If there is questions you have, if there are expansions that you would like on any of these things, we would be happy to entertain any of those.
D'setu, I would appreciate tapping into your collective knowledge about this because this was a personal thing for me. At the end of 2009, I was driving on my way to work on a highway in West Texas, hit a patch of ice and slid off the road, and my car rolled and ended up on the roof. And I had some injuries and I took about a week off work. So when I came back to work, there was on this part of my arm sticking out from under the skin, although it didn't puncture the skin. It looked like there was a rectangle uh, box or something. It was about an inch long, an inch wide, and an inch deep, or half inch deep. And I worked in a medical clinic. I was the lab and x ray tech, and I showed one of the nurses there. And I said, "What do you think this is?" And she said, "Well, it's obviously not a hematoma." And it was hard. The edges were hard and it really protruded from under my skin. And I have wondered all these years what that was. And I was wondering if you have any idea from your group what that was.
When you had this experience occur, do you recall what the predominant theme of experience in your life was at that time? What was it that was foremost in your mind during that
Mm,
time period? Let's say a week, 2 weeks before that, in particular before it, not so much after it.
well, I had a very short term relationship with the man, but I can remember as my car was rolling, and I don't know for sure if I had lost consciousness, but I know that that arm dragged through the mud as the car rolled. And what I thought was, I know I'm not going to die now. And other than that, there wasn't anything massive. Just my regular life with my regular work. Nothing going on different with my children or anything like that.
We understand. So, approximately between 5,000 and 5,400 years ago, you have an existence as an individual who has a great deal of understanding about spiritual matters. You share this information with those individuals around you. Those individuals who are part of your order, shall we say, utilize a marking on their body in that area of that type to express to others who are familiar with you the calling of what your life was about. The individual that you had this brief relationship with was an energy that you touched base with again in this time period that played a much larger part for you in this other time period. The mark was there to begin to remind you of the depth of penetration that you had reached in your ability to interact with those deeper portions of yourself in, shall we say, this other time period, as well as the role that this other individual had played. In this time period, his brief appearance in your life was meant to help to stimulate certain layers of that remembrance for you. It was not meant to be another relationship. So these are the things that come to us as you speak about that event.
Thank you. And as you're telling me that, I'm getting visions of that time and of some of the things that were happening. So thank you very much, D'setu, for bringing that back to mind. That's wonderful.
You're welcome.
Angie?
Greetings, D'setu. So nice to be with you again. I wanted to comment about, I'm in an interesting period right now, and you were speaking of trusting oneself and how that was so important in this time period. And again, I find myself in this strange place because in the chaos that I was able to extricate myself out of by trusting in source, trusting in the divine plan, trusting in divine timing, all these things. Uh, I did that because when I was in the time of chaos, that was during the time where I was trying to pursue my will. I was trying to do the things that I thought would be best for me. Every time I tried those things, it just, nightmare, one after another, to a point where I was learning I can't, it's not my will, it's God's will. Um, and whenever I try to force what's not God's will, obviously it's just going to be, not going to turn out well. But that feels like it taught me that I don't trust myself. And right now I'm okay with that because I'm in this place where I trust God. He can take care of it. I don't even want to pursue anything that has to do with my will. I I cringe at the thought of even trying to do anything that I want because the last 2 years have been nightmarish. Every time I went after something that I wanted, it was awful. So I don't even want to pursue in that way. I want to just trust in God. But if I am very transparent with myself, I have to admit that's because I do not trust myself at all. So, I'm wondering what you have any advice in that respect. I mean, is it enough because I'm an aspect of God and I trust God? Um, is that enough? Even though I know for certain that it is because I don't trust myself. I trust him because I don't trust myself. That's the best route to go. And I'd just love to hear what you might have to share with me on that.
Your relationship with God is similar to the relationship of the pupil that sits with the piano teacher. And that teacher, little by little by little, will draw out of that pupil the ability to play that instrument until finally they can play it in a very powerful way. And they now also have that information that they can utilize to play the instrument as well as to convey that instrument to other individuals also. Learning to play that instrument is a process. Many times the pupil may have their own ideas about how they should be able to play the instrument, and they can try on their own, but the wisdom of the teacher helps them to get there in a way that sometimes is surprising to the pupil. So what will occur for you is you will learn to understand that really there is no separation between that guidance that you refer to as God's guidance and the guidance that is naturally yours to be had. Again, it's only that you have ideas as you look around you and use the information that's at your fingertips about how you should proceed with certain situations and circumstances. God has much more information at their fingertips. They see how all the connections come together. They see down the road how things flow. It's in paying attention to that that you will begin to incite those same abilities within yourself. But it takes, as you trust in a source that you now see as more potent than yourself, you will become familiar with the way it feels to trust in those directions as they unfold in your life. Then, as similar concepts and ideas and directions come up in you, you'll recognize that there's a feeling state that matches the feeling state that you got from God as suggestions were made to you. We would say, pay attention to those if you can, and allow those feeling states to guide you. Because they will, to a degree, sidestep your logical thinking, your rational thinking, and what your intellect says should be done. Because they take much, much more information into consideration in the actions that you take in your life. Again, your environment is going to continue to change. It's not going to change in the way that it changed for the people in the 1960s and 1970s, even though there were changes there. You can look forward from the way things were in the moment and have some idea about how things might be in 5 to 10 years. We'll suggest to you, you can no longer do that. It's going to be different. It's going to be different in ways that you can't see right now. And so learning to trust in those sources of information, in whatever name you apply to them, will be a good beginning point, shall we say, for you to embrace. At the same time, understand that you are not separate from all of that. You are a part of all of that. In that, you're able to open yourself up to the energies that flow from those sources. They are a part of you. You're able to open up to that information also. Attempt to gently ask that aspect of things, God, how it is that for you, information is the most readily recognizable. And then just pay attention for several days and see what it is that shows up. What types of experiences you have. Do they tend to lean in a particular way? Are you having auditory experiences more than you used to have? Are you having visual experiences more than you used to have? Do you have much more of the various thoughts running through your mind than you used to have? Are your feelings for a whole variety of things coming to the forefront much more than they used to? Pay attention to what types of, shall we say, senses in this moment occur. Is your dream state heightened? Do you find yourself daydreaming much more? What begins to occur more than what it used to? What seems to stand out? And then you can utilize that for your own flow of information. Of course, it will be in collaboration with those greater sources of information, but it will be your flow. It will be, for you, a unique way and a effective way for you to tie into the information that's coming to you. So allow yourself to ask and then to pay attention.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Go, Anita.
Thank you so much, D'setu, for this interaction. I really appreciate it. You talked in the beginning about simplicity and the filter that we have, the ego. Are there practices to move beyond our challenges? Are there any particular practices you would recommend that would be helpful to us at this time?
There are. So, in this time period, your challenges are largely brought about as a result of the things that you believe to be true about whatever it is that you're talking about.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what it is. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to give up your preferred way of living your life, your preferred way of seeing things. What it will mean, however, is to allow other individuals their preferred way of seeing life
Mhm.
and making their own challenges. So, one of the things that we frequently mention as we talk in these terms to individuals is if you consider God, if you consider all of existence, if you consider all that is, whatever term you would like to use, all things are contained within that. All things. The things that from your vantage point you call good, and the things from within your vantage point you call bad. All things are contained. So, as you expand into who you are, your energy also will tie more and more frequently into all of those things. This can be a confusing thing for individuals. You can wonder, why all of a sudden am I having more of this type of information show up in my mind than I used to before? And it's because you're being asked to understand that these choices within the entirety of existence, and even as it's applied locally here, are as valid as any other choices are. They are just as valid because all things are contained within existence. And as you become increasingly familiar with a larger and larger role that you are in all of that, all of existence, you will become familiar with increasingly amounts of those things. Now, that doesn't mean that those may be your choices, but for whatever reasons, you don't need to know those reasons, they may be somebody else's choices. And again, sometimes those individuals will choose those choices. And as a result, have experiences that then flow into the rest of your collective and provide all of you with information that you wouldn't otherwise have. Information that all of you can use to move and to shift, as just one example. So, if you can make the choices that other people make as neutral as walking into an ice cream parlor where they maybe serve 100 flavors of ice cream and listen as various individuals order various types of ice cream, uncaring, you're going to order yours. And you do. And you enjoy it. You give no mind to the other individuals, they're enjoying theirs. If you can do that with other people's choices, you will find the challenges in your life begin to fall away. relatively rapidly.
I have another question. So, in seeing the suffering that some people are experiencing, I wonder if I should do something, to alleviate that suffering. Either I try to do things on a local level, like, you know, giving food and money to anyone I see that is homeless. But I'm thinking, in a wider aspect, nationwide. Is there, I feel like I'm not being actively um, helping to alleviate the situation
We
by my
understand.
actions, only by my sending love. Is that enough?
So this will be a multi-part answer, but again, it will be very simple. First of all, we would say that it's, of course, your choice in the way that you would like to help. But having said that, you may want to focus your attention more locally. And if you want to provide a little bit of something every now and then to somebody, whether it's money or food or whatever, that's very nice. Again, however, energy is a much more potent thing than any of you yet understand. You having that caring attitude, you making the choices that you make in your life affect all the individuals on your planet. It flows out and it provides an influence that can be tapped into to all of those individuals. Now, the thing is, just like you, those individuals get to make their own choices about what they want to do in their reality. They get to choose which beliefs they're going to use. Now, they may not understand that's actually what they're doing. It may be, as Angie has demonstrated to all of you tonight, that they have to go through a great deal of difficulty before they get to a place where they begin to see that they can look at things differently. You will not be able to walk into their body and make their choices for them. They are their choices to make. Just like yours have always been your choices to make. And again, everybody on your planet is not what they seem to be on the surface. You are all, again, infinite beings. You don't understand it in this moment, but you are. So again, you've gone on an exploration. You've entered a theme park, if you will. Some of the rides are quite scary, but you always come out the other end just fine. So attempt, if you can, not to take on responsibility for other people's lives. If you like to help in little ways or larger ways, that's fine. Give. But understand that if what you did in your life was live your life in the way that you now would live your life, you actually do not need to do any of the other stuff. We understand that you have, again, strong beliefs in certain areas, not you, but your world, in that expressing yourself in the way where you more obviously help people is better than not doing that. It's only a different way of aiding them. Because again, in the choices that you make, that we know you make, in the way that you approach your existence, you are aiding everybody in your collective. Now, at the same time, they have at their disposal an incredible source of that energy, which is their own infinite self, whatever you like to call it. Now, you being physicalized, shall we say, gives your energy a particular flavor, maybe we could say. And in that, it can be more recognizable than sometimes even their own energy. So, in that, it can affect them in a way that even the energy that is theirs to tap into sometimes may not. So, we would say, really, to be who we know that you are, to make the choices that you make for the reasons that you make them, and all of that is conveyed, shared around you in really a very, very, very powerful way. A very powerful way. If you want to do some of the other things, go ahead and do those things. If it feels right for you to do those things, do those things. We're going to suggest, however, not to do those things if they don't feel right for you to do in the moment. And in that, sometimes, again, you need to be quite transparent with yourself. Make sure guilt isn't involved in that. Make sure the idea of one is better than the other is not involved with that. Those types of things, because those are the things that all of you are moving away in this time period. Because again, in this time period, you're moving into a great understanding of what you all are, which means that all of you are going to understand your own ability. You will understand that the difficulties that you had were difficulties that you knew you could handle, even if some of them were very challenging for you. So that's the advice that we would give you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you for all of this. I have a question about, we have so many energies which are coming from so many different sources, the sun, the planets, celestial objects, so many extraterrestrial beings, physical and non. And I understand that there are also a lot of energies coming from the interior of the earth by the inner earth beings. Can you provide some more information about any of those, if you would be so kind to say?
We again will express the similarity here to what was shared a little earlier with you, with the other individual who shared a great deal of good information with you. And that all these variations of energies are your energies. Again, you have a difficult time yet understanding the breadth and the depth of your beingness, how vast you actually are. You have, however, examples. There's an individual that shares information about what is called extraterrestrials on your planet, and the information flows from another aspect of that individual. They are the same being. Understand that when you are visited by other individuals from other galaxies, from other dimensions, they are part of your greater being. They are a larger part of yourself. This does not mean that the information that flows from them is not valid. It's only a particular form of how you share that information with yourself. Because just like you are an expression of that eternal you, they are also expressions of that eternal you, regardless of the environment that they find themselves within. You are limitless. And so all of these energies are various ways that you catch your own attention to share information with you in ways that you will pay attention to. Because all this information tells you the same thing, that you are much more than what you believe yourself to be, and that you are moving in a direction where you will be embracing that and living that reality. So this is how we would answer your question.
I think that's how you did answer my question. Thank you so much for that. And that is all of the questions we have for right now. Do you have any parting message or anything for us to say to?
We remind you again that in whatever form that takes, to attempt to trust yourself to the greatest degree that you possibly can. You may apply a name to those versions of yourself that for some time may make it seem like that you is still yet some distance from this you. We will suggest to you that is not the case. It is immediately there. So in this journey, in this process, and it will be a process, that will be one of the most powerful things that you can do, is to trust in the information that flows from you in whatever way you clothe that expression of yourself.
Thank you. We are grateful as always. Thanks for shining your light on us. And welcome back, little D'setu.
Yeah, Chuck Jr.
Yep.
I think I mentioned in several weeks ago where in my own attempt to and I guess I'll use the word bridge, that concept of separation, between me and me. I started saying Chuck Jr. and Chuck Sr. instead of even D'setu a whole lot, because not that I don't use the term, but it makes it feel more immediate. So yeah.
And I guess the next expansion is beyond D'setu, to pull in even greater fields of information. Not that you need to, but he's pretty damn all-encompassing.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's what I keep getting from D'setu, is that's all of our stories. And the thing is that, we have a penchant to layer ourselves in that way. To say, okay, there's this expansion of us, then there's this greater expansion of us. But we do that because that's what we're used to. We're used to borders. We're used to boundaries. It's one continuous flow of us. But it doesn't really make any difference, because however we utilize it, that part of ourselves understands entirely what we're doing, and it'll utilize our ideas to our benefit. So it really doesn't make any difference how we do it.
Yep. That was the answer that came through when I asked about the energies. It's all just another reflection of us and helps open our eyes to how grand we are. Thank you.
And again, guys, so I've had this happen a couple of times, and it seems to be becoming more frequent. And one time, I think it was the first time, maybe, that we had a group of channelers together, and I went through a meditative process during that, and the focus I had was to tap into the source that the individuals were tapping into as they channeled. And it turned out to be incredibly potent, so much so that I could barely concentrate on what was going on in the meeting itself, because every time the individual began to speak, that's what I tied into immediately and got that information. So what I've experienced a couple of times lately, and I felt it again tonight, was as we meet what I'm beginning to sense into is the deeper parts of all of you guys and the power that resides there in all of you guys and the information that's there. As you guys ask your questions, as we interact, I'm feeling that almost as strong as I'm feeling you. So that feels like something that's going to continue to expand for me as I do this. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's a role that you have played over and over in this simultaneous now existence of the expansive present moment, right?
I've done a couple of interesting things. I know one of the things that I've done is I have, in terms of linear time, I guess we'll say, many, 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 many incarnations in this dimension. And so, because of that, one of the roles that I play is that for other, what term should we use now? Maybe I'll say oversouls, right? Who are, I'll use this term, considering participating in our dimension. I meld with them and give them a sense of what this dimension is about. And then with that, they choose to their own participation in it or not. So I know
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I've done. I do.
Yeah. You're one of the pamphlets at the check-in at the
Right.
hotel.
Yes. Here, read this and then decide if you want to go on the trip. Here's the brochure for Bali,
Group tours
or
available.
Alaska,
Bring your own food and
or
water.
Iceland, or whatever it might happen to be. And you can decide whether you want to do the trip or not.
Wonderful, as always, and thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Everybody. And Arla, especially. Arla, I have to say that I don't know if I have experienced the type of potency, going back to what I just said, like I did with you tonight. It was really nice. I enjoyed your energy so much tonight, I can't even tell you. It was so nice.
I know.
I just went, wow. I said, I don't need to say anything tonight. That energy of yours said it all. It
It's
was
so
great.
immense
I
to
loved it. It was fantastic.
experience.
You
Yeah.
and man, I haven't been in your energy for a while now. It's probably been 4 or 5, 6 weeks or so. And Arla, wow, you've turned the volume up, man. It's so nice. I love to see that. So good. Really cool.
You. It
Yeah.
feels good on my side too.
I bet.
Uh,
Yeah, when we think about that, she's tapping into energy which helped create the Earth Mother. I mean, it's not like, she came around, she's always been here.
Yeah, that's
And
an
she
interesting
doesn't
story.
show that age, I got to tell you. She looks great for 3 billion years old.
She looks great for agelessness.
yeah, that as the grandmother said, no, you're not old, you're ancient.
Indeed, there is a distinction, right, to be made.
Definitely.
You all are great. Thank you so much for coming. And we're going to stick around for our little open forum like we always have.